In Columbia, South Carolina, they've made it official. Shane Beamer is going to be the new head coach of the South Carolina Gamecocks.
USC is expected to hire Oklahoma assistant head coach Shane Beamer.
As Shane Beamer, the Shane train will be parking in Columbia.
Shane Beamer will be the next head coach for the South Carolina Gamecocks.
The Gamecocks hired Shane Beamer to be their next head coach.
Shane Beamer, the guy behind me, is going to be the new man in charge.
Shane he's got the Carolina blood.
Do you think this job would be Shane's dream job?
Absolutely, 100%, and he's voiced that to me. Everybody saw the interview that Connor gave, and he said, I got this on my chest, and this is where I want to be. This is who I am. I built a home here, and the whole deal. I think that Coach Beamer is the same way. He wants to be back here, and he still has an 843 number. So living in Oklahoma, it's kind of wild.
Ushered in by our friend Patrick Davis is My Carolina. The JB and Goldwater show returns 1:30 on the dot here on a Thursday afternoon. And we're joined now by the new head football coach of the South Carolina Gamecocks. Welcome home, Shane Beamer. What's up, Coach?
Not much. How are you guys doing today?
Well, you were a little early with the phone call. We still had this special bump to be played, and you weren't supposed to hear that. So sorry about that.
All good. That was a pretty cool introduction right there. I wish all radio that excited.
Oh. You're not going to get a better intro than that. JB's production quality is top notch here.
Well,
never. Absolutely. It actually, obviously very impressed. Really impressed with the radio skills and the production skills.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, it takes guys like friends of both you and I. Pat DeMarco and Steven Garcia and all these guys I've known for a long. I went to school with those guys when you were coaching, and so during this process, I was like, all right, well, I got to get some dudes on so we can talk about Shane, right? So we found the dudes, and I said, well, that might sound good. So anyway, that's how we did it. But anyways.
I appreciate it. No, you found some real dudes. If you had those guys on, they great players, great people, and proud to have them in my corner. That's for sure.
Well, we're happy to have the leader of the F Troop on with us today, Shane. Looking forward to getting you back in town here soon. I know you got the Big 12 title game coming up this weekend. Man, what's all this been like for you trying to balance all the new job and your current position up in Norman? This has got to be wild, right?
Yeah, it's been unbelievably wild. We just got off the practice field out here in Norman, and Bob Stoops was at practice, and I was talking to him for a while before practice, and he's like, man, I don't even remember my first month in Norman, Oklahoma when I came from Florida. And he said it's such a whirlwind because you have so many people reaching out to you, and it's been great. Every time I feel like I'm caught up, I walk away from my phone for 30 minutes, and I come back, and I've got 10 missed calls and 30 text messages about different things. But it's been great. Obviously, my priority when I got hired was signing day. We had that yesterday. It was a small class, on purpose, and that's okay because we've got a lot of scholarships and flexibility to work with now going forward into February. Obviously working at Oklahoma, getting ready for the Big 12 championship on Saturday. So hard at work doing that as well. And then, at night or when I do have free time during the day, it's reaching out to our current players at South Carolina. It's reaching out to recruits. It's introducing myself to, a lot of our great supporters at Carolina. It's trying to put together a coaching staff, still be a good husband and good father as well. So it's been busy, but it's been a good busy, running on adrenaline. It's been exciting. And now that we're through signing day, I don't know if it slows down, but, you're able to, focus on some other aspects a little bit more now also.
What's your message, Shane? I know that this class right now is by design small in numbers, and it will grow, and you've got the transfer portal. I mean, this pandemic has been tough, but it's actually provided you opportunity to be flexible while you're doing all this. But what has been your message to those that you've reached out to come play football at South Carolina?
Well, for one, just as you guys know, I mean, it's an opportunity to play football in the SEC. It's the opportunity to play football and what I consider the best environment for college football on a Saturday of anywhere in the country at Williams-Brice Stadium. It's part of a chance to be part of a year one of a new energy, new beginning at South Carolina. A chance to work day in, day out in one of the most beautiful athletic football facilities in the country and what we have here. chance to go to school in a great city, the capital city of Columbia, get an elite education at the University of South Carolina. And then, just it's an opportunity. Let's be real. Everybody who wants to come to college, they want to play as quick as possible. And coming in, it's a fresh start for all of us, the current players on the team at South Carolina, and then the guys that are coming into the program next season. So I don't feel like we're far away in a lot of ways. And our selling point is to these freshmen coming in, got a chance to come in and it's a brand new staff. You got a chance to make an immediate impact day one, especially at some positions where we're thin from a depth standpoint, either through graduation or transfers or whatever it may be. There's a lot of great opportunities for a lot of guys out there.
Shane Beamer, head football coach of the Gamecocks 134 here on the JB and Goldwater show Thursday afternoon. When you talk to the current players, I think I saw, maybe you said it yesterday. I don't think I was, well, I know I don't think I wasn't able to hop on the Zoom conference with you, but when you talk, I think you're about 90% through the team, kind of reaching out to all of them. But when you talk to them, do they feel like they're better than that 2-8 record that happened this year?
Yeah, they do. I mean, I've talked to so many guys that have said, I had a great conversation with Carry On Joyner there in Charleston, and not just him, but a lot of guys, and they've all said, Coach, we're so happy you're here. We're hungry. We're eager to get back to work. I've talked to them about finishing out, the last few weeks of 2020 the right way, but then it's a fresh start, a new start for all of us. And they're competitors. I mean, they're not happy with what happened this past season and the factors that went into it. And I've had so many of those guys that have said they can't wait to meet with me individually. I'm going to be in Columbia all next week, and my first order of business is to get through as many individual meetings with every single player on the team. And I want to sit down with them and really dive in even more into what's into going forward and our plan of attack. And so many of those guys have told me, Coach, I can't wait to meet with you when you get back to Columbia, so we can really talk about some things that we feel like we can be better at, and how to get this thing continuing to move forward. So really been pleased with their response and what they're about so far.
Coach, you've talked a lot about this being your dream job, all the positives of Columbia, all the positives of the facilities and the resources and the former players. But now that it's become a reality, what's the most challenging part of not just getting started, but then moving this thing forward the way you want to?
No, great question. I mean, you're right. It's a great story, and there's a lot of feel-good to it, but eventually you got to win some games. And confident, that we're going to do that. Biggest challenge, I don't know. Right now I think it's just thinking short term and whatnot. It's connecting with all these players on the current team as well. And they don't know me. So getting in there, making sure they continue to get to know me and that they feel good going forward, which I'm confident, the majority of them will, and getting the staff in place and things like that. And I'm sure there'll be things each and every day just going to come up that are unexpected, that'll be a challenge each and every day that we'll deal with. But, I just see an awesome opportunity and just trying to attack each day and get done what's the priority for that day, get it done, and move on to the next one. But, I'm just looking short term, the things we have to get done in the immediate future, and that's continuing to recruit. And we're not close to being done with the 2021 signing class. We've got a ways to go on that. We're continuing to work at that one. There's some guys that are popping up that are potential transfers that we're hard at work on right now, and then putting together a coaching staff as well. There's a lot of immediate challenges and things on that to-do list.
Gamecocks open September the 4th next year. That'll be Shane's first game as head coach against the Eastern Illinois Panthers, just as an FYI to folks. Shane, what type of offense do you want to run in Columbia?
Well, I'd be crazy with what we've done here at Oklahoma and the historic numbers that we've put up to not have aspects of this Oklahoma offense for sure. I mean, you've got to do, I believe as a coach, you've got to do, what your players do well and, accentuate the strengths of your personnel. And that's what we're going to do. But, I mean, we're very multiple and flexible here at Oklahoma with what we do. There's aspects of what South Carolina did last season that we do here at Oklahoma. I mean, I heard somebody say one time that you can't blend the two offenses because South Carolina uses a fullback. Well, so do we. I mean, we have a tight end and a fullback on the field about every single play out here at Oklahoma. Now they're good enough athletes where they're maybe not always lined up as a fullback. They're lined up in space, but we want to be multiple with personnel groupings. We want to get the ball to our playmakers in space. You've got to be able to run it and throw it. And I think there's a perception of what we've done here at Oklahoma. You hear like the air raid offense, and it means we're throwing the ball 80% of the time. And we've actually ran the ball more in the last 5 seasons than we have thrown it here at Oklahoma. But when you're great at the run game, which South Carolina was really good last season running the football, it opens up so much more in the passing game. And that's what I'm excited about. So I'm going to get in there, and I'll be over there next week and have a chance to get around the team some more and see where our strengths are and what we do well, and then build an offense that's flexible and can certainly play to the strengths of our players. That, regardless of what the scheme is, we've got to be tough. We've got to be physical. That's very important to me. You've got to be able to protect the football and create explosive plays offensively. And regardless of what scheme we have, those are going to be 4 non-negotiables for sure.
You got a Tennessee fan here reaching out to congratulate you. He might not be saying that when you're beating them every year, Shane, but we appreciate it certainly now. When you mentioned the run game, when you look at Kevin Harris, what do you see?
Oh man, my son. I'll tell you this: my son, who's 7, he was talking about Kevin Harris last night when I got home, and how excited I am to use him. So when my 7-year-old son in Oklahoma was watching the South Carolina games to know about a specific player, that tells you you're doing something right, or he's doing something right. Just tough, physical. I've enjoyed talked to his mom. I've talked to him, and seems like a great young man whose best football is in front of him, and he did a great job this season for Carolina. Just a workhorse, and it's tough when you're struggling a little bit offensively for different reasons. Continue to grind out yards like he did. I watched that Ole Miss game, and it seems like every single time he touched the ball was a 10 plus yard game. So that's exciting, and I know there's some other running backs in the program as well. The guys in Columbia are really, really excited about going forward. So that certainly excites me. That running back group.
I might be putting you on the spot here a little bit, Coach. Sorry about that. If I am, don't hold it against me. We want you back whenever you want to be, but. That group they've got at QB right now, you got Luke in there, and you got Ryan, and you got Colin. You got a great signing yesterday in Colton Gothier coming to South Carolina. Do you expect that group back next year? What do you think about them?
Yeah, I've talked to all those guys and reached out to all of them and had good conversations with them. It's still early. They're finishing out 2020, and I'm looking forward to to getting over there and visiting with them, and we'll see how things go forward. Certainly, we want them all back, but all those guys have to make the decisions that are best for them and their families and going forward what they feel like is best. So we'll see what happens. Obviously, I know they're all great young men. They're all really good football players. We'd love to have them in the program, but if it comes a point where they decide that moving on and not being at South Carolina is the best thing for them, then we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But I haven't been getting any indications from those guys that that's the route that they're going to go.
You okay on time? You got a couple more minutes with us? Is that
no, I'm good. Yeah, okay. Absolutely.
Oh, okay. Well, then we're good. How much time you got?
Yeah, we can go to like 5 if you want.
I'll just truthfully, we'll say a few more minutes. I don't want to keep Lincoln Riley waiting too long. He's still my boss for another for a little bit.
Well, I think I can understand that. Fellow Charlestonian Shane Beamer joining us here. But what hospital were you born in, by the way, in Charleston?
Was it St. Francis?
St. Francis, right? Yeah, Roper, me too.
No kidding. There you go. Great minds came out of there, hopefully. St. Francis. Was born there. My dad was coaching at the Citadel, so we lived right there on campus at the Citadel. Those old apartments that are still standing, they're right there next to the Citadel practice field. And then I guess after a year, moved out to a house out towards Citadel Mall in that direction and whatnot. So I'll always love coming back to visit. We were just there in this past summer and in the springtime.
Well, next time you come back, we'll call Joe Rice and see if we can't get around to golfing out there at Bulls Bay. How about that?
That'll work.
I think
sounds like a plan. Sounds like a plan.
I think that'd be good. We need to get Stephen Flint. I know you know the Flint family well. We need to get Stephen to come out there and play.
No doubt. There's a bunch of great people. Heard from Stephen during this process as well, and really looking forward to hooking back up with so many of those guys.
Hey, Shane, let me ask you a couple of questions about like football itself here. I want to talk to you about the wide receiving group that you've got the wide receiver group you've got in Columbia right now. A bunch of great kids and a bunch of great athletes, and obviously you've seen it. They had some struggles this year catching the football and things like that. A few weeks ago, Coach Bobo, after I can't remember what game it was, but after some game in a Tuesday press conference, kind of was talking about the background of a lot of these kids and the programs that they came from, their high school programs, and how those programs, maybe a little bit different offensively these days. And so I kind of wanted to ask you what type of kid you recruit now at wide receiver, because the offensive systems have changed a lot, and you're going to need some immediate help. And I know that you're going to the transfer portal and things like that, but how has that been different, with kids maybe not understanding route concepts and things like that to be able to get on the field and make an impact at a young age?
Yeah, no, good question. I think it's any position. Football is different in a lot of ways, and every high school system's different. But, at the same time, in recruiting, you want to get guys in there that are, they're competitive and love football regardless of the position. And then, get guys in there that hopefully they've come from great systems that understand that and how to run routes. But then again, as coaches, that's our job when they get to campus as well to teach them and the details of the wide receiver position. It may be caught catching up, and some guys may be farther along than others, but teaching the details and running a system that's simple enough and flexible enough for those guys to be able to go out there and make plays. So I know exactly what Mike is saying, and it's a little bit different, but I think that's the same for a lot of these positions. I mean, coaching tight ends at Georgia and Oklahoma. I mean, trying to find a high school video of a tight end that actually gets in a 3-point stance is hard nowadays, because very few tight ends do that anymore. They're all flexed out. They're basically receivers. Finding a offensive lineman. Some high school programs, they never throw the football. Some high schools, they never run it. And you got to project and do that in as well when it comes to offensive linemen in different positions. So it is challenging, but that's part of it. Man.
We know that the transfer portal will obviously be big for you here moving forward and heading towards the February signing class. Is there a specific area of need you're targeting first, or is it more of a general aspect of the portal and seeing what's available?
No, I think it's a general aspect. Let's find the best, guys available, but they got to fit with our program as well. I mean, it's I think it's a Bill Belichick quote that, you're not trying to necessarily collect talent. You're trying to build a team, and the 10 or 11, 12, however many guys that we end up signing between now and February, there's going to be some really talented guys out there, but we got to make sure that from a personal standpoint, from a social standpoint, they fit with what we want to be about on and off the field at Carolina. But there's not one position that we're saying that we definitely don't want to improve our roster at, and there's not one that we're saying that we absolutely have to. I mean, to me, we're trying to create more depth and more competition and at every single position, because all these guys, they affect the depth of your team, and you've got to have a capable roster, 85 guys on scholarship from number 1 all the way down to 85, and then a deep group of walk-ons as well, to provide you depth also. And then all those guys, they impact you on special teams. And the more bodies you have, the more depth you have, the better you're going to be on special teams as well. And that's important as well as we continue to build this thing.
All right, a couple of minutes left here with Shane Beamer. We'll let him get back to work. I don't need a bill in the mail from Lincoln Riley. That's for sure. We can't pay that.
I guess he could still fire me, but at least I'm a little bit more secure now.
Hey,
you got a soft landing spot.
If you get fired, it's okay, man. It's all good, brother. You've got a fallback plan.
Yeah, we were at practice this morning, and there's a couple, like every college football team, we've got, fake punts and things like that. And I was working with the punt team in practice this morning. The guys were like begging me to call this fake punt that we haven't ran all year. And they're like, what are they going to do? What's he going to do to you, coach? Fire you? You're a head coach already. If you want to call it on Saturday.
That's right. Yeah, go win that thing. Hey, throw all the cards in the deck out there this weekend. Go win that thing. All right.
That's right.
All right. I'm not asking you about your staff. Everybody asks you about the staff. The staff will be in place when you put it in place, and that's that. But in addition to the on-field guys, filling all those coaching roles and things like that, do you have plans to expand the off-field roles, the analyst roles, and some of these other things that we're seeing a lot of these other schools do? I know guys like Clemson and Georgia and Bama, they have I don't even know who they have anymore. They got a bunch of people in their building doing a bunch of different things. Are you planning on expanding that in Columbia? And when you have former you had the support of hundreds of former players at South Carolina, hundreds. But when you have former qualified players who would like to be involved in this program in some way, shape, or form, is that beneficial to you and maybe being able to offer them a role at some point in time at South Carolina?
Yeah. When first of all, Coach Tanner and the administration at South Carolina, they've given me every indication that any and every resource I need to be successful from a staff standpoint. Those guys and our board of trustees want to work with me to make that happen. Having said that, in some ways I'm a little bit of a less is more kind of guy as well, where everybody has defined roles and you know exactly what everyone's doing. I mean, I've been a part of programs where you walk into a staff meeting, there's like 45 people in the staff meeting, and you're looking around and like, well, what the fuck do all these guys do? And I don't ever want to be in that position. I like having a tight circle of loyal people that have defined roles, and you know everyone's pulling their weight and doing what they're supposed to be doing. Having said that, again, you've got to make sure that you're able to compete with your competitors on and off the field. So we talked about some scenarios during the interview process. Part of that is potentially adding some more off the field roles in different positions, coaching type positions, and even non-coaching positions as well. But I don't want a huge staff of just, a bunch of people running around the building. I want guys that are impacting our players and confident that we'll be able to put that plan together. I mean, the staff the system and the organization that we have here at Oklahoma from a numbers standpoint is pretty much identical to what South Carolina has currently. So I've seen that it can be done with this number. And then the last question, absolutely. Absolutely. I love being at Carolina, and I want guys that love being at Carolina with me because it means something to them. And who better than former players? And you're right. I mean, I've got a list of all the former players that have reached out about potential positions on the staff, and that's going to be a priority for me, of being able to get some former players, multiple former players, back into positions, whether it be on the field roles or off the field roles. And unfortunately, you can't hire every single person that's reached out to me, and they understand that. But I'm proud that there's a lot of guys that want to be at Carolina, and some of those guys will be coming on board with me this year, and then other ones are certainly guys that I'll want to add to the equation as we move forward also.
I love it. Qualified guys. We got to qualified guys. And sometimes, Shane, people hear that and they, you played football, so you can. No, you got to be qualified. All right.
That's right.
Let's make sure we get that out there. All right. I love what you did in the press conference. You never said their name. So I'm not going to either. But that team up north, they've won a couple national championships since you left. Coach Sweeney, for years, Shane, I know he reached out to you and had great things to say. He's a good man. He told anybody that would listen, we're a championship program. We're a championship program. We're a championship program. People bought into it, and then they won 2 championships. They might win another one. Who knows? Look at them now. What's your message? Can you win a national championship at South Carolina?
I go back to what I said earlier. Tell me why we can't.
There you go.
I mean, the resources that are available to us from an academic standpoint and athletic standpoint are all right there. Are we playing in the toughest league in America? Absolutely. But Kirby Smart used to say it all the time at Georgia, and he's right. You win the SEC, you're going to be playing for the national championship. So we're competing to win the SEC each and every year. We made it to the SEC championship game when I was there. We didn't finish the deal. We've got to work to get back to that point and win it. But you're exactly right. Coach Sweeney is a phenomenal man. I've talked to him before I got the job. I've talked to him since I got the job, actually, and think a lot of him. And that's a great barometer for us. Can't wait to get in there and competing with those guys in recruiting and on the football field for sure. But there's no reason why we can't win a national championship in South Carolina, and that's what I'm working towards every single day from the time I wake up to the time I go to bed.
I love it, Shane. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Home uniforms. Everybody wants to know. Are you going to come up with a home uniform and just stick with it? What are you doing here with the uniforms? You don't have anything else to worry about. Can you worry about the uniforms?
Let me just get a coaching staff in place first, and then we'll start talking about all the other stuff I got to worry about. We're trying to figure out how we're decorating my office. My wife is asking me about how. People wanting who are the coaches. They're mad. They're not mad, but they're excited about recruiting. So I got a lot going on.
Oh.
I'll get back to you on the uniforms, but trust me, I hear the concerns about the uniforms, and we'll make sure we make that right going forward.
I mean, come on,
and
man.
the hashtag too, right? I mean, you took some heat
Oh,
for
yeah.
signing day.
Gotta
No
have the hashtag. Yeah.
That too. I've got so many opinions and options on that. I'm going to dive into all that next week. I'm trying to win a championship on Saturday, and then once we hopefully wrap that up about 3 p.m. Eastern time on Saturday, we'll get to all these other things as well that we haven't attacked already.
Yeah, think about that hashtag thing. That's an important deal. The hashtag thing. Hey, but I will tell you this. I don't know if you've thought about this yet, but I don't know about. Do you know about the new musical honor that you carry as head coach at South Carolina?
I do not.
Oh, you know our good buddy Patrick Davis. You know Patrick Davis, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
He has to now reword a few voices in the hit song Big Old Cock because he wrote that and it was Coach Spurrier, and then he had to put Muschamp in there. Now it's going to be Coach Shane Beamer.
There you go. I love it.
You're in a new song.
I love it.
You're in a song. You're in a song.
That is big time. That is big time. All these little it was Shane Beamer Day down in Charleston a few days ago, and then I hear this news today. The thing keeps getting better and better. So thanks for letting me know.
Look, man, we kept you probably way too long. Apologize to Coach Riley for us, but we really do appreciate your time, and we look forward to speaking with you again, maybe in the spring and things like that once you get settled and get everything underway up in Columbia. Really proud to have you back as the head football coach at South Carolina. You deserve it. You got it. You're coming home. People are excited. It's a new era of Gamecock football. And most importantly, Shane, we wish you and your family a very Merry Christmas. And I hope you get to spend quality time with them throughout all these changes.
I really appreciate you saying that. It's awesome to be back in South Carolina. I can't wait to work with you guys going forward. Look forward to being on again, and happy holidays to you guys and all your listeners as well.
You got it.
Great weekend.
Go get them this weekend now. We'll be watching.
Good luck.
You got it. Appreciate you. Thanks, fellas.
Shane Beamer, head football coach and assistant head coach at Oklahoma.